morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you're well. It is Thursday, the 31st of October, 2024. Happy Halloween. Scotland's independence movement isn't about one party or personality. It's a cause for the nation's future. Yet the British state doesn't challenge this cause head on. Instead, it uses the media to attack the faces of independence, targeting political figures, especially within the SNP, hoping to undermine the entire movement by tearing down those who currently represent it. By turning independence into a question of party politics, British media and institutions attempt to shift our focus, distracting us from the national cause at its core. If we are to rise above these tactics, we need to recognise and reject the sensational political gossip that they create. Each misstep by an SNP leader, each governance challenge is spun as evidence that Scotland is failing, an age-old tactic in British propaganda. The British media uses relentless character attacks against the SNP and key SNP figures, from Nicola Sturgeon, Alex Salmond, Humza Yousaf, all of them, presenting stories of financial probes, controversies, or even personal choices to erode public trust. These strategies aren't direct critiques of independence itself. They're attempts to make the current leaders of the movement appear unworthy, hoping to weaken the cause by discrediting its representatives. Sound familiar? This pattern isn't new. Across the British Empire, the same tactics were employed to control nations seeking independence. From India to Malta, for instance, as independence movements grew, the British propaganda depicted these nations as financially unstable and unfit to govern themselves, convincing them they'd fail without British oversight. These narratives, though false, were crafted to keep these countries dependent and fearful of change. Today, Scotland faces similar challenges, similar messages, similar propaganda. We hear claims that an independent Scotland would struggle financially, despite Scotland's strength in renewable energy, exports and resources. British media skews this picture, emphasising only challenges and ignoring the strong economic foundation an independent Scotland would build. To counter this, independent researchers and economists must speak up, showcasing Scotland's potential and exposing the myths of dependency. Selective reporting is another major tool used to undermine the cause. The British media fixates on Scotland's challenges, presenting issues in healthcare, education, infrastructure as failures unique to Scotland. The headlines reinforce a Scotland bad narrative, even as worse crises grow in England and go largely unreported. English NHS backlogs, strikes, infrastructure problems receive minimal attention, leaving the impression that these issues are Scottish problems. To counter this, data comparisons that place Scotland's issues in a broader context are essential and should be available to the public. When we have that full picture, we see that Scotland's challenges are often common across regions and aren't unique indicators of failure within the independence movement. Social media too has become a propaganda battlefield. Algorithms prioritise divisive content, while trolls and bot accounts flood independence discussions, magnifying opposition voices and reinforcing an anti-independence message. These tactics are designed to manipulate perception using algorithms that favour engagement, often boosted by controversy. Countering this requires an active response. Independence activists must share positive narratives, educate followers on media literacy, and promote checking of sources. By broadening understanding and challenging echo chambers, we create a balanced view that breaks through the fog of social media manipulation. Unity within the movement itself is also targeted. Agent provocateurs, or individuals who deliberately sow division, sometimes infiltrate the movement. They push for extreme actions, extreme viewpoints, and stoke distrust amongst the good people of the independence movement. Such tactics aimed at eroding unity and promoting conflict have been used against independence movements worldwide. To resist this, we need internal transparency and open communication within the movement, emphasising common goals over divisive distractions. When we stay focused on the shared vision, our unity and our strength grows. Another tactic used by the British state is targeted advertising. These ads, filled with psychological manipulation, appear around pivotal moments like elections or referendums, reinforcing ideas of economic insecurity and dependency on the UK. By preying on doubts, these ads subtly erode confidence in independence. To counter this, we need positive, fact-based campaigns that focus on the benefits of independence, Scotland's stability, and its potential. We don't need to be fighting each other and pointing the finger that you're bad, and if it's not your party, it's my party, and we're better, and I hate the SNP, and Alip are bigoted, and man, go and just shut the up. Empowering narratives grounded in facts can neutralise fear-based rhetoric and remind us of our strengths. The Scotland bad narrative ultimately isn't a direct critique of the independence movement. It's a critique of those in power in Scotland, focusing mostly on the SNP leaders. The British state knows that attacking independence itself is far more difficult, as the concept of self-government is widely resonated and unites Scots across political lines. It unites Scots across political lines. And if it doesn't, it should. But even in the face of relentless attacks, the independence movement has remained steady, with polls often showing independent support at around 50% and even recently reaching majority levels. The British state fears a genuine national conversation about independence. By redirecting our attention to party controversies and political drama, they hope to prevent the public from focusing on the core principles of independence. A true national conversation would shift our focus from personalities and politics to the vision of an independent Scotland, one that can't be tainted by scandals or character attacks. When we start thinking about independence as a national vision free from political distractions, the propaganda loses its power. We see beyond the obfuscation and realise the movement's strength. In the end, propaganda tactics may weaken individual leaders, but they can't kill the idea that drives our movement. Scottish independence is rooted in identity and shared hope for a future defined by Scots, for Scots. Attack our politicians, if you will. The movement is greater than any one leader. Ideas are bulletproof, and our drive for independence is far too powerful to be dismantled by your propaganda alone. We need to get over our political divisions. We really, really need to. It's not about politics, it's about people. And that's what we'll go on about tomorrow night on the live stream. We'll wrap up everything that we've talked about this week. Just a wee short chat about it. And then we'll talk about politics not being the way forward. It's about you guys, the people. United, defined, without any reason to doubt ourselves, without falling for propaganda and policy, which just causes so much controversy. We can fix policy after we're independent. Apologies for the swearing at this time of the day, but I hope you can join us tomorrow night on the live stream, 11 o'clock, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Till then, have a great day.
I can't get no sleep.